Welcome back. While with day zero looming on the natural gas supply front, out for public comment, the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy has released the draft gas master plan for 2024. The plan seeks to ensure security of gas supply while outlining the role of natural gas in the country's energy mix. Jaco Human, who is Executive Director of the Industrial Gas Users Association of Southern Africa, joins us with his sentiments around the policy instrument in its current form. Jaco, an absolute pleasure. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me.
Brilliant, Jaco. I think before we get into the nitties of this master plan, I'm keen to find out from yourselves as players in the gas sector here, are we completely satisfied with the coherence of the role of gas in South Africa's energy mix in the present and in the future?
I think the short answer is no. I mean, if you consider that the alternative would have been that we wouldn't have faced this immediate crisis that we have around gas energy security. So it is a complicated matter, but at the end of the day, to solve these type of issues, the solutions are quite simple and straightforward, right? But I think it is this, particularly in the policy space, it's this incoherence that is by and large resulted in this particular risk that we face as a country. Insofar gas energy security is concerned, a risk that is real. It is there. The solutions are also quite real and apparent. The question is just how do we move as a country on those?
Let's talk then about, this master plan and, in its current form, Jaco, does it address those challenges? We do know that this day zero issue is looming, and I'm keen to touch on that a little bit later. But right now, looking at this master plan and in its draft, form, how is it faring for you as industry players?
So you got to look at the gas master plan has been in the making for some time, and we had good sort of collaborative interaction with the government, mainly the Department of Mineral Affairs and Energy, around what this plan should look like. We welcome the plan because at least there's a position that government is putting forward, and that which one can then work around and with. So it is a document. The ministry is asking for comment, and of course we will comment on the key issues. And I think the answer to your question lies in what are these particular key issues that we faced. And right now, you have to look at the gas master plan in possibly two spaces. The one is the immediate, and the one is more sort of the medium and long-term solutions that we require as a country. Having studied very lightly over the weekend, the document that was published by the department, it would appear that the government understands the need for gas in the South African economy. It is crafting a particular role as a transitional fuel for the country and to provide energy security to the country. So in that respect, we see a big reliance on gas to power generation coming forth. But if you and the infrastructure requirements to service those, the demand going forward. If you look at the immediate, all right, this is where it simply, in our view, at this point in time, does not answer what we require. All right, it is misaligned in terms of timelines. It does not overly emphasize the risk that we face over the short term, and the particular solutions that the plan putting forward is they are not aligned practically, in our view, with timelines, the need for gas energy, additional gas energy security. In terms of when these things will happen, we don't see that as realistic. And we're particularly talking about terminals. There's reference to regional imports of gas over the short term, but we simply don't see that as playing out in the next 24 months. And that is we were hoping that the gas master plan would at the very minimum address this immediate concern that we have as a country around gas energy security.
Yeah, you've been very vocal about the fact that we need to move today to ensure that we don't have this crisis later in 2026. And so then I'm keen to find out about then what are we doing today to ensure that, we are moving. Do we have enough investment coming in from private players? Is there coherence here in moving along and ensuring that we don't meet that day zero?
At the moment, Industry has been engaging with government on this particular issue for the last 5 years or so, but more focused, I would say, over the last 3-4 months. And we have been engaging with the DMRE that plays a significant role in unlocking some of these challenges that we face. We in discussions with Eskom also playing a significant role in terms of its power demands of gas going forward. And of course the DTIC that's coordinating all of this. We also wish that the government would step in and take some of the risk, the residual risk in some of these large infrastructure projects. But the reality is we don't see the movement yet. In the meantime, industry is at least trying to row its own boat, and in consolidating demand for gas in order to move into contracts, it simply has to assume certain elements of risk. Not that it wants to, but because it has to. And at the moment, industry is sort of crafting a path, but it is quite difficult and onerous if we're not aligned in terms of our action plans, our timelines, etc. And I think this is where we could certainly work much more closely with the broader government machinery.
I'll also ask you, when we look at the future, Jaco, the issue of, gas development in the country, exploration and the likes, that seems to also have been marred by a little bit of a controversy there. A lot of it, environmentalists, conservationists pushing back there. And let's also talk about that because, of course, we've spoken about the issue of regional integration, which is good, but South Africa being able to really get its own gas sources, that becomes important in our future as well.
The whole debate around the environmental impacts of gas and so on is a relevant debate. But the reality is we've also seen over the last couple of years the debate changing somewhat. And there's a realization that as a country, in order to become industrialized or at least remain an industrialized country, we need gas energy for power generation and we need gas energy for industrial applications. Now, that is certainly the case, and we see and we welcome government's position on this. This is where there's significant alignment between the private sector. It is a realistic position. The environmental lobby, of course, is very sort of opposed any of these gas developments, but there is no alternative answer. It's a realistic solution for South Africa and its economic development. And I can certainly attest to the fact that all industrial players are all under the same decarbonization drive. All of large industry, our members, are looking at ways to decarbonize. And together with renewables, it needs more gas. That is the typical pathway that we see in the industrial space. A realistic position. And I think this is what many of the commentators in the environmental lobby miss, is the realism around the need for gas energy.
Well, Jaco, it's been a great talking to you, and I'm keen to find out just how the industry fares, especially with that at Day Zero. We'll be in touch. Thank you so much for your time today. Wonderful. That was Jaco Human. He's Executive Director of the Industrial Gas Users Association of Southern Africa.